All right. Hey, everybody. Welcome to video number 2. In the first video, I was talking a lot about the bigger picture, about EDGE, about social studies. And in this video, I want to get into more details about my own class, my U.S. government class. I want to talk about the expectations I'm going to have of you during this remote learning and what I think it's going to look like. We'll go into the gradebook details, and we use Infinite Campus for that. Some current events we're going to examine this semester that tie in with the curriculum. I'm going to introduce the skills that we're going to work on this semester, as well as some of the software platforms we're planning to use. So what's this going to look like, do you think? Well, what we do know is there's live synchronous classes Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday. We'll talk about Wednesday later. And of course, we're going to do some, probably give you time to work during those classes too, but there may be some live discussion. There might be some videos I have you watch. There may be some questions I have you work on. And at the end of the class, there may be an exit ticket or a formative quiz, something to keep us all on track. There's the Florida Virtual School work, which we'll talk more about that as that comes online here in the next few weeks. And taking notes is an important one. All the brain research shows that when you actually have to stop and write something down, you're not only more likely to remember it, but you're more likely to make a connection with it. And so I'm going to ask you guys to get a notebook. Could just be a spiral notebook or a section of a notebook if you're using that to take notes for this U.S. government class. There's going to be online discussions, and I want you guys to be able to chime in on Google Meet, I think is the platform we'll use. And you'll be giving your opinions on different topics. There's going to be times when I need you to read articles or longer pieces and write in a structured way. I like using a lot of video. Watching videos and answering questions is one of the ways I'm going to get information across to you. And you'll be able to see stuff on my YouTube channel, as well as videos that I've produced. Presenting with video, not only do I want you to watch videos, but I want you to produce them. It's a real 21st century skill to be able to make a video. Flipgrid is an easy way to do that, and WeVideo is a little bit more sophisticated video editing software that the district subscribes to that you can use. And an FYI for your information on all of these software platforms, teachers, we have access to what we call course analytics. So it's not just about necessarily what you turn in, but we can see how much time you spent on things and how many times you tried things. And so I'll be taking a look at that too to make sure that you're putting forth the effort that you need to succeed. There's going to be a lot of individual work, of course, but when we're in a real class, we do a lot of group work, and we're going to try to continue that group work on the online format. So again, another important 21st century skill, I believe, is being able to work with other people through computers and through the software that we have available. So check that out. Now, this is a really important one I put here at the bottom here, asking for help when you need it and communicating with us. We're not going to be in a classroom together, so I'm not going to be able to see a confused look on your face, or you're not going to be able to quickly raise your hand and ask a question the same way you normally would. And so it really is going to fall on you to communicate with us when you're having confusions, and don't feel bad about doing that. That's what we want you to do, is to let us know when something's not working or you don't get something, and we can talk one-on-one using the tools that we have. So let's talk a little bit more about that, because how do I raise my hand in class? Well, in class, during the synchronous live classes, asking a question in the chat feature is a common way to do that. You can just type it in and enter it, and then I can get to that. Some of the video conferencing apps have a raise your hand feature that you can click on, and it shows a little hand. You can also just kind of physically put your hand in the camera like, hey, Mr. Semple. And the other thing you can really do anytime is unmute your microphone and talk and be like, "Hey, Mr. Semple, I have a question," and I want you guys to be able to do that. So don't feel bad about asking questions during class. It's going to be an important way for me to know what's going on, so I'm not just talking to a screen, but I'm actually talking to people. Outside of class, Gmail is the way to go. Email us. Always use your Adams 12 account, so we know who you are and keep track of everything that way. And of course, we can always set up video conferences, a one-on-one Zoom talk or a Google Meet. Now, just a note, this is a social studies class, and so we're going to talk about current events, and I'm going to ask you to start to explore and form your own opinions about current events that are happening. We talk about different perspectives, liberal perspectives, conservative viewpoints on a large range of issues. This is part of what we want you to learn this semester. But I don't really inject my own opinions into that. I respect all informed opinions that you have, and I ask you guys to respect each other in this process too. We're going to learn how to communicate opinions and share ideas in a non-judgmental, non-flame wars kind of way, so we can actually discuss ideas intelligently. To put it another way, I don't really care what you think. I care that you're thinking. That means if, whatever your opinion may be, support it with evidence and facts and explain it. And don't be afraid to voice opinions. Sometimes we're thinking out loud, and don't be afraid to change opinions too. Let's take a look at the grade book. There's 4 categories. If you're familiar with Infinite Campus, that weights different categories for each class. And the 4 grade book categories in my class are these: content, communication, research and source analysis, and formative work. So let's start with content. The biggest thing in this category is unit tests. There's 4 units in the government class, and there's a test at the end of each one. There may be some of the Florida virtual school stuff going in this category too, but probably let's think about unit tests as the big 30% part of this category. And while we don't really do retakes of tests, we do have ways that you can earn points back on those tests. We'll talk more about that later. Next up is communication. Writing and speaking is a big part of communication. Point evidence analysis is a structured way of writing where you are building up your communication skills that we use here at Legacy. We use PEA. You'll hear that probably in more than one of your classes. There's, of course, written tests. CRQs is what we call them, constructed response questions at the end of each unit. The online discussions is a place where there'll be probably written responses, typing to sort of a discussion panel, but also video and oral discussions happening. And I want you to also be able to produce videos, either short ones or longer videos to help communicate. The third category is research and source analysis. We need you to be able to go out and find sources on your own. The internet is full of stuff. Some of it's great, some of it's not. You need to be able to look at that and analyze those sources for credibility. Now, we're going to work a lot on this skill. There's a lot of things you can do. And if you've never done this before, well, I'm sure you know the reasons why. You've seen a lot of things on the internet that probably are not true. And so we'll learn how to do that. We'll look for bias as well. And of course, you have to be able to cite your sources and give credit to where you found the information. Last category is formative work. Flipgrid responses, participation on those discussions, exit tickets, quizzes, virtual, Florida virtual school, video questions, all kinds of places where we put this. This is the sort of the day-to-day work along the way, and that's 20% of your grade. Now, current events is part of what I want to talk about. This is a government class, and there's always things going on that we can talk about. For example, what's the role of government in this whole COVID-19 crisis? We've all been under stay-at-home orders, and there's mask mandates in the state of Colorado. What's going on with that, and what should be the role of government here is something I'd like to discuss. This is an election year, so not just for the president, but other U.S. congressional elections are happening. So we'll take a look at what's going on with that. I love talking about local issues. An interesting one that's going to be on the ballot in November is we're asking voters in the state of Colorado if we should reintroduce wolves to the wild. I think that's kind of an interesting topic. Other issues that come up in the state are things like should people be able to carry a concealed weapon? This is an issue that comes up again and again in this state. And oil and gas issues is another one that's big here in Colorado. Social media. How does that affect government, and how does government affect it? You might have been hearing about the TikTok wars that's going on. President Trump talking about his desire for TikTok to be purchased by an American company. It's owned by a Chinese company right now, and what's the role of the government here, and how does that affect the government, and how does all this stuff affect elections? Of course, Twitter is all over the place with politics and other social media sites too. How do they affect us, and what should there be any kind of regulation on them? And then this summer there was this in the news a lot is these issues of racial unrest in America. We have economic and social inequality often tied with race in this country. There's issues of police brutality, like the killing of George Floyd, which really resparked the Black Lives Matter this movement this summer. And kind of tied in with this too is the issue of these removal of Confederate statues, these Confederate generals who have statues dedicated to them in many of our cities, especially in the South. What does that mean for racial unrest in this country? Big topics, complex topics. We'll read about them, we'll form opinions, and discuss them. I'm open though to whatever else comes up. So if other things come up in the news and you want to bring up things you want to discuss, share that with me, and we'll talk about those too. Skills you will develop in this class. Of course, you'll learn some mad ninja skills. But besides that, reading. There's news articles to read, and current events will work on how to do that. Writing. Is a big skill that we use. The point evidence analysis I mentioned before. Analyzing sources. Oral skills, how to present information in an organized, confident, and interesting way. And then there's going to be technical skills too, using a variety of online platforms, digital communication, video editing, all this tech stuff that we need to become masters of here in the new world. Some of the platforms, software platforms we're going to use are Schoology, Edpuzzle. Schoology, of course, is the big one, by the way. All of your teachers are placing everything in Schoology, so that's the first place you'll go to find everything else. But then I use things like Edpuzzle and Flipgrid and Quizlet you might have used before to help you study. I've got a pretty well-developed YouTube channel and with lots of videos on it. News ELA is a great source of where we can read about current events. WeVideo is a great video editing software the district has subscribed to, so you can get a good version of that. Turnitin.com for catching plagiarism, and Infinite Campus for checking your grades, and I'm sure we'll use some other ones too. The best resource for you to start is always Schoology. I've got a web page, not sure. I'll keep it up to date, but probably Schoology is the best place to go for stuff. I have a YouTube channel, which we'll link to through Schoology, but you can always go to that and check out, directly and check out things, and you can subscribe to see when new things come through. I'm not sure of how much I'll use Google Classroom, or if I will. There might be some reasons to use that this year, but we'll see. And then Wednesdays, there's more information coming on that, but Wednesdays is the day we don't have live classes, and there'll be a time for you to be able to get extra help on those days. Again, when you want to contact me, email through your Google Gmail accounts is the best way, and we can set up these Google Meet or Zoom video conferences. All right, is that it? I think. Yes, your first two assignments. You're going to go log into your school Google account and go to my class in Schoology. This is where you're going to start every day. And in there, you'll see an intro to beginning of the year folder. Inside that folder, you'll find an assignment called Assignment 1, Make a Get to Know You Flipgrid video. There's a link there that will take you to Flipgrid, and you'll have to probably log in through your Google account. You might have to set up a little account. And I think there's an access code as well there. There's going to be some get to know you questions that you have to answer. So some required and then some that you can choose. And that's all in the Flipgrid when you link to that. And then watch the example of the one that I made so you can see how it works, and then produce your own 1 to 2 minute video that answers the questions. Now, your video will be shared with me, not with the whole class. I want to see your face. I want to hear your voice. I want to get to know you. I want to know how your name is pronounced. I want to do all that, and that's just for me. I'm not going to share that with the class, but I will be taking notes as I get to know you and find out a little bit about you. Email me with questions, concerns, or any tech issues that you're having. I can try to troubleshoot. I can try to help you, or I can put you in touch with people who can help me, but email is probably a good way to do that. The second assignment that goes along with this is also in Schoology. Everything's in Schoology. So find the same place, the same folder. This one will link you to a Google form that so I can have a hard copy of some things about you, including your interest level on a variety of current event topics. So answer that and get those back to me. All the due dates are there in Schoology, and links to these assignments. So that's where you're going to find them. Well, that's it for now. Stay calm, everybody. We got this. There's going to be good times. There's going to be difficulties, but we can work through this together, and won't be too long, and we'll be back in the classroom, I sure hope, and we can meet face to face. But for now, stay calm, stay in communication, and we got this thing. All right, guys, take care. We'll see you soon.